Good morning. As you can see, this is our biggest group we've had to missions trip this year, so we're super excited. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. These 5 on the front are our Mission Possible juniors, so they came on Friday to join the mission team and work along with us. And then the rest of them stayed the entire time. Our Mission Possible, our goal is to go out and use our hands and hearts to bring hope near home. That is on the back of our shirts. Our Bible verse this year was 1 Corinthians 16, 13 through 14. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. Our theme song this year was Different by Micah Taylor and Reckless Love by Corey Asbury. I'm going to tell you real quick what we did, and then I'm going to turn it over to the children to give their thoughts about the trip this year. Real quick though, I want to say a couple of thank yous to Miss Linda for her food and donations, to Mr. John and Miss Faye for their snacks and water, for Miss Alona for her snacks, for Mr. Allen and Miss Kathy for doing supper for us Friday night, and also to Mr. Allen for hanging with us, and he spoke to us Friday night. To Mr. Ronnie and Miss Angie, they did breakfast for us Saturday morning, and we were very relieved not to have to eat boxed cereal. And Miss Jamie Odom, who did all of our extra shirts, our white ones and our gray ones, our Love is Greater Than Hate shirts, she did those for us. And to all the adults who helped with the shower house and with our crafts and stuff Wednesday night. If not, we'd have probably never gone to bed Wednesday night. So we thank you for staying and helping us out Wednesday. So Thursday morning we got up and got packed up and ready, and we headed to the Ronald McDonald House in Greenville. We took the pop tabs, we took all of our donation stuff that we had collected, and we carried it to the Ronald McDonald House. And then Thursday night, we went out to eat. And then we did a little surprise visit to Mr. James and Miss Mary, because we tried to do that last year and they were gone. So we decided to sneak around there this year, and we called them home. And then Friday morning, when the Mission Possible Juniors came, we went to Rolling Ridge at Newton Grove. We went to the Mount Olive Park. We went to Genesis of Mount Olive, the nursing home. Then we had Then we did a quick trip to the Goshen Farm on Goshen Road. And then Mr. Alan Prater spoke to us on Friday night. And then yesterday morning, we got up and we partnered with the Salvation Army and Captain Sherry Stokes, and we did a feeding at Royal Lane Park. And just so you know, we actually fed 143 people yesterday at Royal Lane Park, so that was really interesting. So now I'm going to let the juniors start first, because I promised them they didn't have to stand here the whole entire time, but I'm going to bring them back up. That's right, Miss Tammy just running. First of all, we're going to do a little something for you that we've done all week long. As we did it at the nursing homes, we did it walking down the hallways, we did it at Rolling Ridge, we did it everywhere. We've done this at the mall, we've done a lot of things this week. But this is one of the things that we did, and so I'm going to let Miss Tammy lead, and we're just going to do a couple of verses for you of I'll Fly Away.
Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away.
that okay? You come stand right here. You want me to? I'll stand with you. I want you to tell them about your experience on Friday. Okay?
The first day on Friday when we first went to Rolling Ridge, the lady, when we were playing musical bingo, sat beside me. Her name was Miss Lizzie. She told me that God was working miracles on all of us. And when we went to Genesis, when we were singing I'll Fly Away Down the Halls, some of the people started singing with us.
All right. Very good. Right, Joe?
So on Friday when we went to Rolling Ridge, there was this lady in a Pepsi hat, and we asked her if she was ready to play bingo, and she said, "Yeah, I'm the bingo queen. I know how to play some bingo." And then she started talking about how many wins she's had last time, and then that she knew how to play some bingo. And then whenever we went in to play musical bingo, some of the ladies were talking about how the other lady was going to win all of them. And then we went down to Genesis. We saw Miss Tammy's mama, and we sung to her, and we gave out sunflowers. And whenever we were singing with Mr. Jimmy in the cafeteria, he knew how to sing. He was dancing in his wheelchair like nobody knew. Then we went down to the farm down on Goshen Road. Everybody was complaining, and Miss Brandy was talking about she was Moses and her disciples were us, complaining and grumbling all the way. But that sums up our Friday.
Thumbs up his Friday.
On Friday, my favorite part about Rolling Ridge is the older women who
Boy, that's older women, right? Good job. You're doing good, Jeff. You're doing good. Keep going.
but there's this one woman who kept on falling asleep. Who was winning, but she didn't notice it. And
All right, Jeff.
What was your favorite thing about the trip? In the microphone. What was your favorite thing about the trip? It's not really this quiet. Not when it gets around this group right here.
And Dylan, what about the kid in the park?
Oh, yeah. Tell my please.
Dylan,
Dylan, come on, you can do this. Look at me and tell me, with a microphone. Don't look at him, just tell me. Tell me what you saw. About the kids in the park.
Come on, you know it.
That's right. Alright, Haley, what was your favorite thing about the trip?
singing,
And we sang a lot, didn't we? Okay, what about the park? What was your favorite thing about the park? No.
we sing songs.
Uh-huh. What else we did? Do you remember?
around in the band.
Oh, and Haley danced with Mr. Jimmy. This girl's got some moves. She had a dance party over there. Several of them did, but Haley was enjoying Mr. Jimmy's music. Was there anything else you didn't think about?
We went to merry-go-round.
Yep, we went on the merry-go-round really fast. I did not. So, anything else?
No.
No? All right. Good job, Haley. They had such a good time, and they were so dedicated and just helpful and did everything that they were asked to do. Miss Ann, do you want to say something? Miss Ann's itching over here. Miss Ann took Mr. John's place because he had to have surgery, and she said, well, I hate he had to have surgery. She said, but I'm so glad he couldn't come today.
I have to say, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And when we went to Rolling Ridge, all the kids, they were just so happy, and they just made those people feel so good. They sat beside them, they played bingo with them. They would get up and sing, and they had the legs up just to dancing. All of us were dancing and singing. And but Jay, he tickled me I think it was Friday night, he was talking about when we're in the circle, he said, I thought those old people were gonna be grumpy. But he said, no, he said, those ladies were fun and sassy. I mean, Miss Brandy and them has done such a great job with the youth group, and you parents, you have something to be proud of.
Amen.
Because I really enjoyed it, and they were acting with those women just like they were their grandparents. When we got back in the vehicle to leave from Rolling Ridge, they were talking about, well, I met, each one of them had picked out a certain person. They said, I'm going to go back and visit them. So they really enjoyed what they did. It really came from the heart, and I'm glad I went.
All right, I'm gonna let Amir start us off.
Okay, first off, I'd like to say that Mission Possible was a great experience. I'd like to thank everyone who helped it together. Now I'm going to start off by talking about Friday. So I think it was circle time Thursday night. Miss Brandy told us we were going to do bingo at Rolling Ridge. I was like, I'd like to call it out. And Miss Brandy said, no. So I guess she had a change in heart because I got to help call out the numbers. So I figured out that if you call the same letter of, like if you do G's, all the G's, that bingo goes a whole lot faster. So then I pointed at Emma, then I pointed at the little circle I had, and I went like that. I called it out. I saw seven ladies jump up and go, bingo! So then we got to the point where we started running out of prizes, and then we left Rolling Ridge and went to Genesis in Mount Olive. And I met one lady, and I thought it was so sad because I started talking to her. And Emma asked her if she wanted, well, we both asked her if she wanted to go do arts and crafts and stuff. And she said, no, I just want to go home. And I thought it was one of the saddest things I've ever heard.
First of all, it was awesome to get to spend the weekend with Emily and Justin. We're really glad that they came. It was a lot of fun to get to know them. And Mr. Allen and Miss Kathleen, thank you so much for making us food. And Miss Linda, I probably ate the majority of your lemon squares.
And would not let anybody else get the bucket at
So,
all.
this is true. But my favorite part was when we went to Genesis. And it was arts and crafts time, and I sat between Miss Geraldine and Miss Mary. And Miss Geraldine had Parkinson's, so she made me do everything. She was very picky with all her arts and crafts. But what was awesome was I was talking to Miss Mary, and she was just astounded by our youth group. She was like, you guys bring so much life into this place. she's like, ever since you guys came in, she's like, I'm excited just to see y'all run around. And she asked if this was all our youth group, and I was like, no, there's more of us. And she was just blown away, and she's like, that's awesome. Your church must be absolutely thriving. She's like, it's really unusual to see such a large amount of youth. And I was like, the best part is we're a tiny church. So I thought it was cool that even someone that doesn't know our church could tell just by our youth group and all the hustle and bustle that came with us that we are a youth-filled church.
Amen.
And that we're not dying out. We're
Thank you,
growing
Lord.
bigger.
Hallelujah.
And then to top it off, Miss Geraldine said she was just tired watching us. So.
Well, was it Thursday that we sang that song?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we went to the mall Thursday, and we had to do a buddy system. And I thought this was, for some reason, I thought this was funny, because we went to a hat store, and this lady thought that the cross was like a T, and she's like, oh, we could do that for a girls' trip. She's like, that'd be really cool. She's like, I gotta take a picture of that. And then she was like talking to somebody on like her little like earpiece, and her friend, she's like, my friend said that that's stealing. She went, I don't listen to her. Then Friday we went at Rolling Ridge. I met this lady. Her name was Miss Jackie, and whenever I went to her room, she told me about how her son joined the Air Force, and that he got flown into South Carolina, and that this weekend she was supposed to see him because he was going to come and see her. And I thought that was like amazing that he still had time to come and like see her and visit her and all that. And then was it Saturday? I think it was. Saturday, yeah, we went door to door, and the first door that we went to, there was this lady that didn't have any legs, and she was in a wheelchair. And then there was another lady that was just sitting outside, and I guess they lived together. And so Brad told them what we were doing, and she went, oh yeah, I love those. And Brad was like, do you need any assistance getting across the road? She went, no, I'm fine. And then the other lady looked at her, she went, he's asking if you need help getting across the road. She went, no, I'm fine, because you're coming with me. And she went, no, I'm not coming with you. She went, yes, you are. And she was like, oh, well, thank you for asking. And then I helped with like the trash and cleaning the tables and all that. And I told Raven that I had fun doing it, and Raven was like, she's crazy. And then everybody thought that Brad was gonna get beat up because he went up to like this camp looking thing, and he went up and he looked at them, and like he talked to one guy, and then like a bunch of guys started like going around him in like a semicircle, and they were just like looking at him, and then like he came back, and we were like, oh, okay. And also, Pastor Ken isn't up here because all he did was come whenever there was food involved.
Hello, I have tea. Alright, I'm glad I am one of the first few people, it's tea time ladies, to come up here because I just knew that Raven or Morgan or someone was going to tell this story. Alright, I have not been to a senior home in a while. They know this story. I'm embarrassed. This man, Miss Brandy told me and Caitlin, is Caitlin here today? No, she's not? Okay, well, whatever. She's not here for tea time. Miss Brandy told me and Caitlin to invite people to come play bingo. So I walk out. I go to the end of the hall, and this man in a wheelchair is just thunk, 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 opening to a door. I go, hello, sir, do you need any help? Push. Am I allowed to let you out? Push. I open the door. He rolls out. I immediately gun it to a nurse and go, I just let a man named Richard out. Is that okay? And she said, no. And she ran out. And I apologized later. So that was Rolling Stone. And then we went to Genesis. Rolling Ridge, whatever. It was rolling. Somebody was rolling. So we go to Genesis, and a lady is bumping into the door again. I was smarter this time. They also had a neon yellow sign at the door. So Morgan goes, Sarah, go help that lady out. And I go, okay. No. I did not let her out this time, people. No. But at Genesis, I did meet my BFF Patricia, and she wore a snazzy pink helmet, and she was bopping, and I taught her how to dab, and she would go, and I accidentally told her my name was Cheese Stick, because I forgot my name for a minute, and all I could think of was cheese. So, that was fun. And I also saw 3 bees. One of them landed on my foot, so that was amazing. I well, Thursday, nobody's been talking about Thursday. It was just like kind of work, so that's why nobody's talking about it. We just kind of worked. It was just work. And then Friday, we went to Rolling Ridge, and I didn't really do anything there because I was kind of handing out prizes and stuff. And some of the ladies were really picky and didn't like the prizes, and they were like, I don't want this one. And I was like, okay. You get what I gave you. Like, so don't complain. And so then we went to Genesis, and I'm not the greatest at like talking to people. I get kind of like awkward, don't know what to say. But there was this one lady that I sat down with. They made me sit down with her and help her, and so I did. And of course, the one I sat down with to help her with her craft was the one that used to do the arts and crafts and knew what she was doing. So I had to help her make her craft perfect because she made me. And I was cutting little pom-poms, and I like cut off the edges of them and was going to do something else. And she had Parkinson's, so she had to use like weights to do different stuff and all that. And she picked up the scissors and started trying to cut them, and I was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. And then she said, they're not all the same length. And I was like, I'll do it for you. And then, well, Emma was sitting over there with the other 2 ladies, and Miss Geraldine was holding up the example one and trying to get her to make Emma do it exactly like the example. And so Miss Betsy leans over to me and she goes, you see her over there? And I was like, who? And she's like, Miss Geraldine, you see her? And I was like, yeah. And she said, you see, she's making that girl do everything for her. She doesn't do anything for herself. Makes everybody do everything for her. And I was like, are you really gossiping to me right now? I was like, you're making me do everything for you. Like, we're all in the same boat here. But she just kept turning to me and she was like, you see her? They're going to do everything for her. And then I went back to her room later because they had to carry her oxygen and they weren't carrying it to her fast enough. So she made one of the helpers take her back to her room because she got frustrated. She was like, they're not bringing me my oxygen in time. Take me to my room. I want to go to my room. And they were like, okay. They took her. And so I had to bring her little craft. And she sat there and talked to me about, she makes these little like keychains and stuff, and so she was talking to me about the keychains she makes and talking to me about her kids and all that. And it was just cool to get to talk to her. And she said her dad was a pastor at Pentecostal church, and she was talking about how things used to be like true Pentecostal and all that. And it was really cool to just talk to her and get to know her. And then Saturday, we went to the park and gave out food, and I was helping in the food truck. I think that's my thing, is like being the leader and helping do stuff and bossing people around. I like doing that. So I would just tell people, I'd be like, start making the plates. I go yell at Emma in the mirror and then be like, make my plates. And so,
That's not how.
that's how I remember it, because you're over there eating. Okay, anyways, so I like doing that and getting to talk talked to the people when they came to the door, and I was talking to the little kids and stuff. But it was just cool because you think, like, thinking about, like, just doing work and, like, you're not really doing anything, but that's, like, a meal they don't have to pay for because a lot of them are low income or don't have a job or, like, can't get the money to have, like, a good meal. And so that's, like, they could pay for a better dinner that night or a better lunch the next day or, like, save that money for something else where they would have to buy themselves lunch or have to go find food. And so it's just awesome to, like, get to give them food and talk to them and let them have that one free meal where they can save that money for something else and have time to do other things.
So I'm gonna talk about Thursday since kind of everybody was talking about it. So we went to the Ronald McDonald House, and when we got there, I was kind of expecting a lot, but I wasn't expecting it to be what it was. Like it looked. I didn't expect it to look that way, but I did a lot of work and we moved a lot of stuff from different rooms, and it was good seeing some of the families and
Tell them what you three had to do. What did I have to dress up?
oh, we had to dress up. Me, Raven, and Delicia. I had to dress up as Elsa. And Delicia had to be Anna, and Raven was Olaf. They're having like this character day breakfast in September, and it was really interesting. We were just like doing little clips or whatever about it. It was fun, even though the outfits were hot.
Your outfit was hot.
But that was kind of fun, and then the people were really grateful that we came and actually helped out. And they said they would, like, they don't really have a lot of staff there. And they said if we wouldn't have come, they wouldn't have, like, it wouldn't have took them that much of time to do all that stuff. And then, okay, so Friday we went to the nursing homes, and, like, I don't really like going to nursing homes because they seem, like, all sad and depressing sometimes. But we brought life into the nursing homes, and I like singing in the hallways and stuff. But then Saturday we went and helped with the Salvation Army, and I had to work in the food truck with Raven and Radamir, and it was kind of fun because I like serving people, but I didn't want to go door to door because I don't like talking to people either. So I got to help with the food truck, and it was just really fun. So.
I really got out of my comfort zone this week from talking to strangers and helping out and all that. But I learned a bunch of things. That little things count. When we stepped foot into the nursing home, they knew that they were in for a treat for sure. It's really cool how they opened up to us as soon as we came. My main purpose that day was to show my love and my happiness because you never really see me without a smile because that's my personality. They were also happy when we played with them because they really don't get visitors and they just really enjoyed our company. Let's see, at Genesis, I don't know if I'm really supposed to tell the story. So I went to go back to see Miss Tammy's grandma, or mom, and I noticed that there's a lady in there named Miss Nina, and I was like, okay, I would like to go see her, and so I said, hi, is your name Nina too? She's like, yes, and I was like, okay, how are you doing? And so it was me and Emily in there, and so she was like, she looked like she was about to cry, and then all of a sudden it was like, blood. She threw up everywhere. I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? And we ran up, we got the nurse on the other hallway. She wasn't the nurse, we had to go back and go find another one. And it was really sad. And I don't know, it's the worst experience. I didn't know what to do. That was really out of my comfort zone. I really enjoyed Thursday too. I really got to hang out with all my friends and we got closer and we bonded. I really liked them all. I hung out with Morgan and Raven. We were trying to find Morgan some cute shorts and I had to run out, run back in, and then run out, run back in. Because she was like, yeah, and we were just kind of full. We were like in a clown car. And I was like, no. But I really enjoyed this trip. It was my first time, so I really loved it. So thank you for all of your help and stuff. Thank you.
So, I didn't write anything down, so bear with me. So, Thursday, I didn't really do anything that stood out to me. I just worked in this tiny room and moved boxes and yeah. So, I helped with goodie bags and stuff like that. And then there was Jake trying to cram every single big thing into a tiny little bag. Friday we went to Rolling Ridge, and I worked with this lady. Her name was Miss Willa Booth, and she had dementia and Alzheimer's. So I thought it was really cool how the only thing she actually remembered was her name, where she was from, and what church she went to. So she was a really sassy lady too, because after our prizes, after bingo was over, we went out and there was this lady trying to get her to sign a paper, and she was trying to talk to me, and she was like, "Wait, I'm talking." That was kind of funny. And I took her back to her room, and she had this, during bingo, they were passing out these little hula necklaces that had flowers on them. And and she got hers, and we were trying to move on to the next round, and she just stood up and started dancing had a fun time. And I thought that was really neat. And then we went to Genesis and saw my grandma, and we sung to her, and she really took that to heart. And we were in there, and I was trying to make her one of those crafts, because I was walking around and singing and stuff like that, so I didn't really get to mingle with the people in there. So I tried to make a craft for her, and they were trying to take everything away from me, hurry up, and I was like, no, I'm not finished. So I made her the craft. And then Saturday I went door to door. That was a really good experience. It was kind of scary because I knocked on this one guy's door, and most people, they just crack the door open and stick their head out, and he just comes fully out the door and was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Do you want a free hot dog?" And he was like, "All right," and just went back inside. And it kind of scared me. But yeah, it was just a really fun experience. And then I got sunburnt, and that was kind of cool. Not really. But yeah.
So on Friday we went to Genesis. We were singing and walking around. This one lady, she kept drawing my attention. So I went into her room and was talking to her, but she really couldn't speak well. But she had the brightest smile on her face, and you could tell that she was happy to see me. And then on Saturday, I just wanted to see some kids, because I love little kids. And then as we were going door to door knocking, they were this one person was "Who is it? Who is it?" And Brad knocked that time, I think. And I was like, "Stop, they won't think it's the police knocking." Yeah. And then we went on, and I saw kids finally, and I was like, "Oh my God, yes, there's kids." And as soon as I told them there was hot dogs and stuff, free hot dogs and stuff, they all just wanted to come right then. And then, I was racing with one of these little kids, Javion, we were racing. He was about 3. And then when it was time to leave, he was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I gotta go back to the food is at, okay, got it?" He's like, "Why?" I said, "I gotta go." And he said, "Why are you talking like that?" I said, "Oh my God." He's like, "No, come back, now." Okay, so I just went on, and then we were at the food truck. I was like, "I want the little kids to come. Oh my gosh, I want the little kids to come." And so when they came, I was so happy, and I was just running around, playing with them, talking to them. And then we came back, to circle time. We were talking, and Miss Brandy was talking about how she saw some of us like that had like gifts, and she could tell like we had gifts for stuff, certain things. And she said I had a gift for working with children. And I was like, okay. And she's like, she saw that like all I could just go up and talk to the kids really easy, like they all listened, and like they all kind of gravitated towards me, and like that meant something.
Okay, so one con about being in the very back is that I can rethink through my entire script and point out every con of my script. Alright, so Tuesday. It was something. And my favorite part of working at the Ronald McDonald House was doing these gift bags. It was a bunch of hand soaps and razors. One didn't have a cover on it, so Sarah just lost her marbles. and just does stuff like that. And me and Mark, we just laughed at the names of the soaps. My favorite was the aquatic beach salt. It wasn't even soap. It was a shampoo. And on Wednesday, I'm ashamed to say the story, but Miss Brandy was saying, we all already know everyone here, and I said, we don't know Mark. His name is Nathan, y'all. So that name stuck with him forever. He is going to change his name for $50 apparently.
We start calling Mark now at the house too.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then there was Friday. And honestly, never before have I had so much fun and so many roasts in one day. I never knew that my Yana Delis, or my cool guy Delis, could be so sassy. And I just loved seeing the way that they acted and the joy on their faces when they finally won bingo because of me. Right, so weird story. I was one letter and a number down. It was G14. I saw he was cheating, so I asked him to pull out G14. This kid pulled out G15 and 13. Every number but that. So yeah, I hate him now. And then there was Saturday. The way that Saturday was described to me, it sounded like I was going into a mob-controlled gangster. I was seriously considering packing some kind of weapon just in case. But going up there and seeing all of those people, well, all 7 of them who entered the door, they all just seemed so, I don't know what to call it, but grateful. I don't know why, they just did. And Brad, I didn't forget you. Okay, so I'm going to embarrass Brad now. He walks up to this car, like, in our big white van. He jumps out and runs to this car that is starting to park. And he talks to a guy. He runs back and it tells us that he speaks, quote unquote, in their language. To this day, I am surprised why he is still alive. But to me, the moral of this weekend was we were basically being heroes to these people, and I've always wanted to be one. I don't care if there's a costume, but next year I'm wearing one. But I just love that I got to help out and inspire so many people and have fun along the way. The pig weed.
Sit down, sit down.
Stop it. Okay. One last thing, then I'm gone. So we are driving back from I forgot, and we move over to this field. Now, where my mind, I'm thinking, it can't be. No. So we're all in this state of panic. Then about, I don't know, 45 minutes later, Mr. Brad shows up. And this...
Yes.
Stop it, Sarah. Okay. And he tells us that it is a false alarm. I almost lost my cool and punched him in the face. That's all. I loved it, and we were basically paid to do. Well, no, we had to pay them to do community service. So think about that.
It was on Thursday when me and Jake went and we had to pack gift bags. Whew, that was funny. But I didn't have nobody to pair with when we did bingo, so I was bored. He called my music gay. Yes, he did.
Let's go to another story.
Well, I don't want to talk about the part because that was...
You grew up. Anything about yesterday? About the door?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
On Thursday, we were on the way to Greenville, and Miss Brandy told me and Justin, she was like, "You're going to see today why I said I'll take these kids anywhere in the world." And when we got there, it didn't take us long to see why she said that. Anything that the people at the Ronald McDonald House told her to do, they did it without question. Some of the stuff was kind of crazy, and even the workers there, they were like, "We're really impressed. Like, they're not complaining, they're not questioning why we're telling them to do what they're doing. They only complain if you take them to a bean field." Then they grumble and they're really upset and they start saying they don't like their parents anymore. On Friday, well actually Thursday, let me tell you first, Jake really worked up an appetite when he was at the Ronald McDonald House because when we went out to eat at Logan's, he ordered steak and shrimp. And of course, Logan's has yeast rolls and peanuts. Well, he ate all his food. And Nate, also known as Mark here, couldn't finish all of his, so Jake handled that. He ate. And by the way, Jake's sides were French fries and mashed potatoes, so he had to share fair stuff. And he ate Nate's macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes and some of Nate's steak and some of Justin's steak and said he was still hungry. And when we left there, we went and visited with Mr. James and Miss Mary, and I really enjoyed that. On Friday, I had to leave and go to work for a little bit, but I met back up with him after lunch, and when we went to Genesis, we walked around and passed out the flowers and sang in the hallway, and then went over to the cafeteria area, and they were doing arts and crafts, and my favorite part, I was really proud of all the kids because they were befriending and bonding with different residents and having dance parties and singing and talking to them. And Sarah already told you a little bit about Patricia, but what she didn't tell you was Patricia didn't talk a whole lot. It was a lot of head nodding and shaking her head no. And we were taking her back to her room, and as she was going down the hall, Sarah was like, Patricia was dancing, bopping, right? Bopping. She was bopping. And there was a resident sitting in his doorway of his room, and Sarah kind of jokingly was like, say, hey boy, and Patricia goes, hey boy! That was hilarious. But I really think Patricia had the best day of her life. She had so much fun. Yesterday, the best part for me was we went out to Royal Lane, and my grandma used to live in the senior resident apartments in front of the park. And her best friend, I've known her since I was 2, her name's Magdalene, and she still lives out there, and she's up in her 80s, and we went out and we're asking residents if we could bring them a plate, because some of them couldn't make it out to the park. And Mr. Brad came up and asked Magdalene if she had any prayer requests, and she was telling us she had had problems with her shoulder and problems with her knee. And we all gathered around, there were several of us, we all gathered around and Jake led prayer, and she ended up crying. It made me cry, but it was really good, it was special. I also have to tell y'all what Justin's was, but before I get to that, our Bible verse this week was 1 Corinthians 16, 13, and 14. Be on your guard, stand firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. And the kids really did that. They were strong and courageous in some of those questionable situations, like at the apartments, knocking on doors. And they did everything that they did in love, with smiles on their faces. And I agree with Miss Brandy, I'd go anywhere with them. I love them. All right, Justin, he's at work today, but he said that he was impressed with the way that everyone pitched in during every day of the trip without questioning why they had to do things. She said something that really stood out to him was on Friday at Genesis, the lady that was sitting by herself, Amir went over and talked to her, had a long conversation with her, trying to cheer her up. And no one told him to go talk to her, he just chose to do that. He said yesterday he was surprised at how excited kids were running door to door. They were excited to serve others, and he said overall he's really happy he attended, and he looks forward to more adventures with this youth group.
I can't preach.
No. We have lunch.
These kids need something to talk about again. They mention my name quite often for a reason. So I'm going to preach a few minutes.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Actually, Emily's already covered what I was going to say. Great time with the kids. No grumbling, no arguing. We had a great time. These young adults work together super well. I mean, I just can't say enough about their attitudes and their willingness, their examples to be followed. Their lights are already shining. And Brandon says I can't preach, but I'm going to. Just a second, and I'm going to use scripture. I don't like doing anything without using a little bit of scripture. And our scripture for the week was, as she said, watch ye stand fast in the faith. Quiet you like men, be strong. These children showed strength, they showed courage, they showed morals, they showed what a Christian life is supposed to look like. Christian ministry. They're already developing those aspects in their life, and I see God working in them. It says, let all your things be done with charity, which is love, without murmuring, without arguing. Let your things be done together. And these guys have done all that. I also want to thank Scott, Ronnie, Pastor Ken, Miss Linda, just everybody that was involved, Miss Dean, Alan, his wife, Kathy. Yes, ma'am, Miss Kathy. Slip just for a second. Thank you, Alan, for the great message you brought forth. I just don't have enough good things to say.
On your phone, good.
I can say
The table camera.
And you slipped away every time we had to work.
I can't. I was watching.
You did some meter.
I've learned that I'm old enough to be a supervisor, but y'all haven't quite figured that out, so I have to slip away. Slip away. So y'all change me back into a laborer. No, kidding. When we were at Ronald McDonald's house, they said it would take them like 2 weeks to get what we done in about 4 hours. We cleared out about 25 rooms that are under construction, and we've done it in just several hours. We moved the stuff and coordinated together with them, got their stocks out of the way so that those rooms can start being prepared so that patients, families can stay there again. So team effort changed 2 weeks of work into 3 hours. Thank you.
There's not much else that can be said on anything. This is a wonderful group of youth that we have. These are your children. Thank you for letting us spend the time with them. They're awesome. I don't know how they act at home, but they act really well with us. Mission trips are hard. They're not just all fun and games. We actually come here to work, and we pay to come here to work. So Pastor Ken's always told me that we're here to serve, and we get to do it, you know, so I'm here to just kind of help out with everything that's going on. I think this is our 4th year of doing this. It's probably our best year we've had so far. And I think I've been here in this church 7 years, maybe 8 years or longer. So most of these children you see, they were just tall or so when I first started. Now they're growing into young adults. I see the spiritual life, the godliness in these children. They bring happiness everywhere they go. When you go to a nursing home, it's not very pleasant sometimes. But when you bring joy to those people in that nursery home like these children did this weekend, it is a God thing. I mean, it is just awesome to see, awesome to be a part of, and I thank them for everything they've done this weekend. Thank you.
I'm going to tell you, I'm proud of each and every one of them. I have seen the most spiritual growth in these children. So much from the time that they first started Mission Possible until now. The new ones that came, they fell right in just like they knew what was going on. I will take them anywhere in the world, not afraid. My favorite part of my whole mission trip, I texted Ashley Wednesday night, and it was late. I told her, I said, I'm sorry, I'm sending this message so late. But if you could please arrange for Caden to come out Thursday morning for us to get a picture with Caden and the pop tabs that everyone collected. And thank you guys for that. We are going to continue to collect, so don't stop your pop tabs. We're continuing that. But Ashley told me, she texted me the next morning, she said, I am teaching summer school this week. She said, but I'll see if my babysitter
will take Kaden out there for a picture. And she did. She brought Kaden for a picture. And if y'all know Kaden, he is stingy with them hugs. But I actually got a hug from Kaden when he came out to get his picture made with us, and that made my whole mission trip. But because everything that we were doing for the Pop Tabs and the Ronald McDonald House is in honor of Kaden. And that really warmed my heart, and it just is so special to me. I did a lot of observing this weekend, and these youth, our Bible verse said, do everything in love. Everything these youth did this week, they did in love. Not one of them complained, gripe, what can we do next? What do you want us to do? The only time they did gripe is when we turned down the path to the field. There's a whole lot of griping then. When I pulled up in my van, they're talking, we're not getting out. We're not getting out. I said, you don't have a choice. You gotta get out. But they breathed a sigh of relief whenever Mr. Scott told them that, I just brought you out here to see how pretty this field of beans is. But I sincerely thank every one of you, because without you guys, Mission Possible wouldn't be possible. And we appreciate everything that you do for these youth. I appreciate Miss Brandy. She does a lot. She does a lot behind the scenes that nobody even knows about. She prepares this trip. And of course, without her, it definitely wouldn't be possible, but we appreciate you and we love you.
So you heard all the good things that we did. They're fun little stories, they're everything, but they did work. They worked so hard, and I'm kind of like Miss Tammy, we work right on, we don't ever ask them to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves, and we worked right alongside of them. So it was such a blessing to us as well. The one thing we'll leave, we do have our quick little video so you can see the pictures from before you leave. But the one thing that I wanted to share about this week was, do it out crying. I told them during circle time, I think it was, anyway, no, we were at the park. Anyway, we went to the park, and I explained to them that God goes ahead of us and prepares things for us. So, and you don't see it sometimes, and I think sometimes it's because we're so busy in just life, period. We don't see how God has prepared the way for us. But it happened Friday. We went to Rolling Ridge. I never imagined a bingo game being like it was. And how much fun not only we had, but the residents had. They didn't even want us to leave. The kids didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay even longer. But after that, we had decided we were going to go to the Newton Grove Park to eat lunch. And then we were going to head to Mount Olive. And when we come out of Rolling Ridge Friday, Tammy and I stood there and talked, and Perry, and I said, look, it's like 11:15. I was like, it's kind of early to eat lunch because we knew we had a longer afternoon. And I said, well, instead of going to Rolling Ridge, instead of going to Newton Grove Park, I said, what do you think about Mount Olive? And Perry said, yes. He said, let's just drive to Mount Olive. That'll kill some time. And then maybe by the time we get there, we'll let them play a little bit. Then we'll eat lunch, and then we'll go to Genesis. So we drove on to Mount Olive, and we got to the park. The kids started to play. We got the food ready. They ate their sandwiches. And yes, all of them made their own sandwiches, moms, dads, packed their own lunch. We ate. And then the kids went off and played, and we noticed there's 3 children there, well, 2 actually, over by the merry-go-round. And Sarah kept looking at it. She said, I'm waiting for those kids to get off of that thing, she said, because I want to ride it. And she kept waiting and she kept waiting. Well, she saw Nina coming across towards and she said, well, if Nina's going over there, I'm going over there. Well, the next thing I know, the merry-go-round is full of my kids with this beautiful little tiny red-headed girl sitting in the middle of it. And I thought, Lord, they are going to make her sick. And she's just sitting there, riding, watching everybody. So I walk over and I got to talking to her mom. And there was another boy there. Her name was Kinsley. And then her brother was Spencer. And her other brother, Brody, was with his grandmother. So I was sitting there talking with her, and she said she had talked to one of you about the church or whatever, or asked where church we were from. And because we had our white shirts. We had these shirts. Okay, we had these on. And so I was talking to her. She was from Dudley. She's originally had only been here 7 years, whatever. But she said, my daughter, she said, I'm very surprised. She said, she's very shy, and she said, I thought when the kids come over, she would want to get off. And said, your kids have been so sweet and so kind to her. She said, and my son, because he was pushing the merry-go-round, playing with them too. She said, my kids really needed this. She said, they just lost their father. And so I talked with her and stuff. He died at 34. He's from the Union area, and they don't know exactly what happened. And they were dealing with that. Kids didn't know, so I talked with her a little bit, told her we would pray for her and stuff and everything. The kids continued to play and stuff. So afterwards, Mr. Scott said, bring them over to Piggly Wiggly. He said, I'm going to treat the kids to some ice cream before they go to Genesis. So I walked back over and asked the family if they would meet us at Piggly Wiggly to have ice cream. And the grandma said she greatly appreciated that. We had been so loving and so kind to the kids, and that's what they really needed today. But it was kind of nap time for Kinsley, and she didn't want to give her ice cream before that, so they declined to come with us. But I sat the kids down in the park and told them about how God goes before us and prepares the way for us. But I also told them that I very highly believe in angels. But I also believe angels walk in this earth, and at that moment, I wanted them to understand that they were angels walking because they had ministered to that family without even knowing what they had done in love, which is what they done all week. Anyway, that was the highlight of my day because God prepared that way. He changed our route and made sure we were at that park at that moment with those children having a good time, taking away some of their sorrow. I just want to tell you, I love these kids. Y'all know that. I tell them that all the time. They give me a really hard time, and I love every minute of it, but I give it back. They are so respectful. They're so loving. They're so kind. Their hearts are full of Jesus. Their spiritual growth is amazing. Thank you for letting them be part of Goshen, for doing these trips. I also thank Tammy and Perry because they take vacation time during this time every year to do this. Emily and Justin came along this year. They also took their time off work, changed their schedules around. Granted, they had to go in for a little bit Friday morning and missed the Rolling Ridge Fun, but they hung with us. They stood with us. They ministered. They did everything. We were so grateful to have the extra hands and the extra eyes and hearts, especially at the feeding yesterday, for them to drive around with the kids and do the stuff they do. I know, but my time's way up. I also want to thank Scott because when I volunteer to do stuff, he always says, well, that means you volunteered me to do stuff. And I do, because in the back of my head, oh, I can do that because Scott can help me. He's my backbone. He's helped with getting the shower house, taking it back, getting the vans, doing all that stuff. If I forget something, I say, hey, can you run it to the church? I forgot so-and-so during the mission trip. He's done that. I want to thank Ronnie and them for coming out and fixing the shower house. We had a little episode with that to start off with. But we fixed it. Everything's good. We're sending it back fixed, so everything's good. Thank all of you for praying for us, for making this possible. There's a lot they want to do and say that we've practiced, but we're just going to end with our video today. And they're all, maybe Pastor Kim will let them do their little skit another Sunday, or Wednesday night. Maybe Wednesday night we can do our skit for everybody before class, okay? They're dying to do their skit, but we'll do that before class on Wednesday. Thank you again from all my heart for letting your kids, thank you for letting me do this, that I get to do this with all of them. So Pastor Ken, if you want to talk real quick while he gets that video ready.
Juniors, come back up, please.
Yeah. Miss Mary, did you want to say something? I know you had said.
I just wanted to say that I enjoyed y'all going to the house so much Thursday night. And people, I was younger at one time, and I worked with the youth, went on trips and all. It's a lot of fun, it's a lot of work, and Brandon needs all the backing behind her and help she can get, because there's a lot to do before all this is put together. And we need to help her all we can and pray for her and support her, because she's doing a good job. Amen.
4 years ago, this started with an idea, and this year there was a bunch of them. We quit counting. This is our largest one so far. This year another idea started. Why don't we host Mission Possible Junior for the kids that aren't quite old enough to do the whole weekend, but aren't so young that they can't be mentored and brought in to understand. So I have no idea what God's going to do next year, because you have your Mission Possible and your Mission Possible Junior team, and this is just a cross-section of our church. I want to thank you. I don't say it lightly when I say thank you for partnering with Goshen with his tithes and your offerings and your special offerings. The light bill has to be paid. Everybody know that? Anybody know that at your house? What do you open that July bill? But watch this. Because you're being faithful, them being here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I wasn't worried about the air conditioning running. In other words, I didn't wonder how we're going to pay the light bill for them being here 3 extra days this month.
Pretty sure she turned the heat on.
I'm thinking it's because of the light bill.
It did get hot, didn't it?
Can I have a microphone?
No. No.
No, I get it. That we have lunch, not supper.
I will hold the microphone. I will hold the microphone.
We were getting ready for bed. The rooms were cool. The kids had settled in. Balls of sweat start rolling off. Scratched my head. We had worked, Mr. Roger had tried, and we had all worked on the bathhouse. We were all tired. Ronnie had worked on it. Everything electrical was going wrong. So I'm laying there, balls of sweat running off, and Justin says, I smell smoke. No. So I have to get up. I go back outside. Ken's walking straight to his car, says not a word. I don't smell nothing, not anything. I recheck everything Ronnie's done. I recheck everything Mr. Rogers done. I check everything I've done, from the plugs all the way back to the place. Can't find nothing. Come back in. Harry walks by the air conditioner and says, somebody's turned the heat on. On 78, so we're smelling the heat strips coming through the vents. And has put our air conditioner.
Wait. Now, my probation officer said not to admit to anything. I'm just saying I may have been in the area.
We sweat before 3:30 in the morning trying to get it cooled off.
Good for you, on the board.
Him and Justin was out there trying to I was out there waiting for him.
Yeah, I come by and they were like, I said, what's wrong, boys? He said, we smell smoke or something, don't we? I said, I don't smell nothing. I just came right on.
We got our list.
Lots of people behind the scenes help make things happen at Goshen. And as we continue to grow, we're going to need more of those people. But I'm thankful for what this church does. And we did a home missions trip because of your support and because of the heart and the ministry of these youth and children. So before they do the slideshow, I just want to present to you, and you give a hand to Mission Possible Team 2018. Charlie, could we get the lights for us? We're going to close with the slideshow.